got to see if we're live.
My
I
little
can't. What?
thing at the bottom says on the air.
Okay. This is why I edit out the audio because no one wants to watch this. It says live, but I don't see it on YouTube yet. Oh, there's Karen. I see Karen Pierre, but her comments aren't showing up in my box. Only in the YouTube chat. So Karen, you can hear us? Interesting. So I see Karen. I don't see it on YouTube. Let me check Facebook. We are live on Facebook. Well, I guess we'll just hope YouTube catches up.
Caleb's on.
All right, there's Caleb. Let's see. I wonder where his comment's coming from.
I don't know, because I can see the comments and I can see where I can talk to you two through comments, but I can't comment to the viewers. That's weird.
Huh. All right. Well, Caleb popped in there, so he must be on YouTube. Someone's watching on Facebook, but it might be me. But on YouTube, it seems to be just the logo. I don't see the video. Do you see it on YouTube? And I see comments.
Let me see.
All right, let me just see if Karen can hear us. Nope. She says there's no picture.
We're on YouTube because I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, you are?
Yep.
That's weird because Karen says there's no picture. I'm not getting her comments or my comments in the comment section. Caleb, can you hear us? All right, Karen says nothing.
Hello there.
My wife says it's live and she can hear it.
All right, well, we'll keep moving
She's on
and
YouTube.
hope that it catches up. That's weird. Karen says there's no picture. I'm not getting her comments or my comments. Caleb, can you hear us? Oh, I think I see why. Oh, yep, I got it. Let me tell Karen where to go real quick, and then we actually will start. I think she's in. I'm watching the one that I scheduled for, which for some reason I couldn't reconnect to. I see. Okay. All right. Well, good. Well, at least it's working, just not the way I really wanted it to. But that's my life. Such is my life.
Hello there.
What is that?
That's my phone. Let me turn that down.
That's pretty funny.
It's Ewan McGregor.
I saw him playing like the flugelhorn the other day. Okay. All right, you guys ready? Sorry about that. We're only 9 minutes late. That's pretty good for us.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right, hey guys, and welcome to the But Mostly Disney podcast. I'm here, Tater, with my buddy Andrew.
Hey, good afternoon, or good evening, I should say.
And tonight we are excited to have my good friend Stacy, who, I mean, I guess mostly deals with the other coast, right? But Stacy is the Disney hotel lady, and if you've not seen her YouTube channel or podcast, then you are really missing out. How are you doing, Stacy?
Hello. Good. How are you? Nice to be here, guys.
And we're barely making it, so I'm glad to be here with just a couple of technical difficulties, but that's about par for the course. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Karen. Stacy, sorry. Well, I'm trying to. Poor Karen is trapped in the other live channel, and I'm trying to get her back over to this one.
Oh, we're waiting for you, Karen. Well, my name is Stacy. I am going by the Disney Hotel Lady online now. I've been doing this for about a year, and I'm trying to help bring more information and like comparisons about the hotels. Primarily for now, I'm focused on Disneyland, but with time, I hope to expand out to Florida, Disney World, and maybe even other parts of the Disney universe someday. That's a long time down the road, but there's at least in California, there are a lot of good neighbor hotels that you can choose from, and it can get difficult to get up all the websites and comparing and figuring out what you need and what you want. So I'm hopefully here to help you with that.
Well, and that was so. I went to Disneyland as a kid, but I don't really remember it. But that was we talked about this when I was on your podcast. We had actually booked our stay at the Candy Cane Hotel, which got great reviews and everyone loved. But in my head, I'm still in Disney World on the East Coast and trying to figure that out. So for us, I was worried about doing it, and we ended up switching to the Disneyland Hotel. And that's true. I didn't think about that. Out here, you could spend a year reviewing hotels, just doing room types and locations and moderate and value and deluxe. Where out there's 3 hotels, official hotels? Is that it?
Yep, just 3 Disney property hotels.
And have you done all 3 of those? Have you reviewed those?
I actually have not. I've done 2 of them, but I do have the 3rd. The newly refurbished Pixar Place is gonna be coming up in May for me.
And what was it called before? The Pier or
Paradise Pier?
Paradise Pier. And oh, good. Karen made it, so we were worried. She said she needed an escape for tonight, and I felt bad because we had some technical difficulties, and I'm still not sure what I did wrong, but I'm glad she's there. So, that does make it different. But as I was thinking about today's show, I was thinking, oh my gosh, could you ever review all of the hotels just like main gate area? Like over here, it's crazy. Is it that crazy in California?
It is. I went through just like a Google map search, and just in like a mile or 2 radius around Disneyland, I came up with over 100 hotels.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And I'm like not even counting, like Knott's is pretty close, like 10-15 minutes away, and there's hotels up there that you could include as Disneyland area, but that's not even
I didn't even think about that. Knott's Berry is only 15 minutes away, huh? That geography makes no sense to me. Like, I don't understand it. Even if I look at a map, I'm still a little lost. So how many hotels have you done?
Oh, that's a good question. I am not sure of my current total right now.
That's a good sign. It means you've done a lot of them.
Yeah. I'm making my way.
That's awesome. And Andrew, you're going to plan a trip out there here soon, aren't you?
I hope so. We're gonna probably next year or 2 get out there. We haven't been yet.
All
right. So for me, like when I plan, even just like going for a few days here to Disney World, the hotel, if not the most important decision, maybe behind restaurants, it's really important. Like it's It's part of the trip. It's like a sixth family member we take along with us. Is it the same out in California, or can you be less discerning with your choices?
Well, I would say it is important, but maybe not as much so as in Disney World, because there's a lot more um, factors I think you can distinguish by. Whereas in Disneyland, I feel like they're all kind of striving for that same level of service and same like amenity points, and so most of them you're gonna get really similar things with. It's just like specifically, not everybody has free breakfast or not everybody has free parking. But as far as like room types or prices, things are going to be pretty close.
And how many, I mean, and a rough idea, how many hotels do you think are legitimate walking distance to Disneyland?
I don't know if I'm the one to ask about that. I'm not a fast walker, so
Okay.
I'm not walking distance isn't as important to me because I'm not even always sure that I will do it. But in my opinion, in my humble opinion, the true walking distance hotels are the ones that you're going to find right on Harbor there between Ball and Catella. And I want to say there's about 10 or 12 of those.
That's still a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought it's again, I vaguely, and it hadn't been, I mean, well, it's probably been 10, 15, can't be 15, 10 or 12 years since we were there. And I vaguely remember getting off the interstate, but we stayed at the Disneyland hotel. So we pulled right in. I didn't get to see, and we did use that as a base for a couple of days to go other places as well. But I really didn't drive around the perimeter to see what it looked like, to see what the hotels looked like.
If you pull up a Google Earth map of it, there's a ton. I didn't realize how many hotels were around there until I started looking. I understand why he bought all the property here in Florida, because it's just ridiculous.
I know. I feel like that. Like every time they add something, I'm like, where? I thought there was no room. I don't understand.
Yeah, something's gonna disappear.
And we love and Karen. I was just gonna say, Karen says here that she wanted to take her son Sean out and stay at the Disneyland hotel, and it would almost be hard for me to stay somewhere else. Like I think we loved walking through the Grand Californian, right? Not, I keep Grand Floridian. It's hard to say. We walked through the Grand Californian, and it was cool to have your own private entrance to the park. That was really neat, which is something I think they probably should do with the Galaxy's Edge or the Star Cruiser defunct hotel. You know, they have a system in place to get you to the gate. You could come in that way. But that was really neat. But walking out, the Disneyland hotel had so much history inside of it. I mean, like every hallway was like a museum, and we would just take the elevator to look at each display all the way up. And I really, really loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I think part of it, my mom's driven all of Route 66, which was part of the reason we were there, to finish the last little bit. And so I think the original Disneyland hotel sat on part of Route 66, which is kind of cool.
Fun.
I didn't know for the longest time that Walt didn't own that hotel. I thought he did.
Yeah. And there's another one in Orlando that I just read about that I think most of is gone, but it was the hotel that Disney bought to train. So the hotel was like a Disney hotel for a while in Florida for them to train employees on how to work at the hotels.
Yeah, and I think the execs stayed there while they were building everything.
Yeah. Crazy.
I think Roller stayed there.
But I do have a vague memory of being a kid of pulling up and parking right in front of Disneyland and just walking right in. Like that's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Especially as I'm looking at it on the map here today, and it's hard to even find the entrance. But you can, I mean, it was right there. And you just moved, is that correct? Did you just?
That is true. I am a new resident of Utah.
How's that?
I'm loving it so far. It's snowing today, just a little light snow. And compared to where I'm from, Phoenix, Arizona, like it's a completely different, but completely welcome.
And how many miles to the Magic Kingdom?
To California or to Florida?
Well, I guess. Well, you're closer to California, I guess.
Yeah. It only added, I think, like 20 minutes to my flight. So.
Oh, really? That's not bad.
cool.
Mhm.
That's what we were saying last week. We were talking about it, and I live in Virginia, so I'm a 11-hour drive away, depending on traffic. So to try to do a Disney vlog really made a lot of sense. But it was what I was passionate about, and what I wanted to do, and so I think 2 weeks ago I flew down for $78 round trip, which was awesome. Doesn't happen all the time that way. Sometimes it's more, but. And then were you
It's
just
funny
here?
you find those deals because being 5 hours, 6 hours away, we normally drive, but we were looking at flying this last time, and it was going to be $1,300 for us to fly, and I was like, nope, not going to happen.
No, and that's what I end up doing is alternating, taking a car, like renting a car, usually to save the mileage on my car, because then that's only $200 or so, and then I don't mind the drive that much. I've gotten kind of used to it, kind of have to. And then were you just in Walt Disney World, Stacy?
I took my mom out for a few days. We stayed at the new cabins for the first time.
Oh,
and,
nice.
Tell us
met
about
up
that.
with the cabins were, let me see, I got this right here close to me, a little promotional material from the room. I really liked it. Of course, I'd never stayed at Fort Wilderness before, so I'd only been there for Hoop-de-Doo before, but I'd read that a lot of people thought that it was kind of cheap looking or something. And I can get where they're coming from, but also at the same time, I feel like to a certain extent, it may have been done intentionally because you're at Fort Wilderness. So even though it's called a cabin, I felt like it was a mix between like cabin, tiny house, and RV. So like all three of those feels into one dwelling. And we liked it a lot. Yeah.
I love that area, and I never stayed in the old cabins because we try to do somewhere. It's hard, right? Because it's so much money, right? It's so expensive. You don't want to be even risk becoming even close to disappointed. I don't mind trying a new restaurant and maybe you spend a couple $100 or whatever, and you're like, it was okay, but we're not going back. But if you spend 5 nights in a hotel at $500 or $600 a night and you don't like it, it becomes difficult. That being said, I do want to check off all of them. But lately, again, going monthly has been different. I have to budget differently because I can't stay at the Grand Floridian every time I go. And so I've been staying at moderate or value resorts lately and really, really enjoying them. But that whole property at Wilderness Lodge is, I think we were just debating it online. The actual Wilderness Lodge may have the most beautiful lobby of any Disney hotel. And I think at Christmas time, you can't beat it.
It's awesome.
It's just so pretty.
You can't beat it. That's where we're staying at Thursday's Wilderness.
It's
for the first time. And we've eaten there a couple times and hung out for Christmas and had hot chocolate and hung around with Cheery. So it's going to be fun actually staying there for the first time. And Thursday, I think, is going to be our resort day. So,
nice.
Looking forward to that. Yeah.
I do love it. And I really want to stay in the cabins. I really want to rent a golf cart is really what I want to do. We did stay, and it's funny. So, hey, Karen, just so you know, I absolutely did this background just for you. Because last week I had a different background and she thought it looked like Tangled. So this week I created a Tangled background, which I love. So, yeah, I'd like to go at Halloween or Christmas over there in the campsites when they're doing that. When they have the parades and everything. I mean, it's like a real community. And it seems like it's been that way since the 70s, really.
Mm-hmm. it really felt that way. It felt like you were camping, you people crossing paths and you're waving at each other. And we went, it was January, but still different people at the different campsites had their lights up, and had their decorations. And yeah, it was real fun.
I was at French Quarter 2 weeks ago, and someone had full-on Halloween decorations up in their window. And then I was at All-Star Music 2 weeks before that, and there were 3 different rooms with Christmas decorations, lights still up. And that was January. So God bless them. It's a holiday all year round.
Yep.
Yeah, the only time I've been in the campsites is I had done a split stay one time with, used some Hilton points that I had. And then we were checking into, I don't even remember where. And I booked my day at Magic Kingdom on the wrong day. And so the day we were still at the Hilton and we had, extra hours. And that was at a time when they still did like 3 extra hours where it was open till midnight or 1 a.m. And so I actually called my MEI travel advisor, and they booked us a campground for the night. And so we went over and checked in, and we actually had a beach tent. So we put that up and took a little picture that we were there. And then we got our extra magic hours for like $50. It was really smart.
That's cool.
And Karen says that they camped in November of 1999. Frost warnings. See, that's the thing. I could be okay with freezing to death over there. I don't want to sweat. Like, I feel like, up until recently, we've always gone in the summer. However, once my wife is able to, she's a teacher, then we may move that to January. So then it could make sense to go and camp. I'd be willing to do that at least once.
Yeah. And did you know, I only found this out a couple years ago, I think, from another creator, that there are companies that will rent you an RV, bring it to Fort Wilderness, set it up for you on your site, and you can rent an RV. I thought that's so cool.
Well, now we are getting to my type of camping.
They'll have your golf cart waiting for you. You can have Instacart dropped off at the cart. It's ridiculous. You have everything ready to go when you get there, and you're camping in an RV, a fifth wheel.
I will have to do that because my wife wants to drive cross country. She wants to buy an RV and live in it. I'll make sure she didn't hear me. I would do it if she told me to. But we have to talk about renting one, and that would be fun. I wonder what that adds. I wonder what the cost is like for that. Now I'm gonna have to find out because that would be a lot of fun. Because do I really want to stay in a tent and shower in like a shower house? I'm not sure. Not sure that's really me. All right. So okay. So what's your favorite California on property hotel? I guess there's 2 you've been in, right? So
That's a tough one. Like you said, for different reasons. California Adventure for the entrance. And I think my husband, his favorite is Grand Californian for the woodsy craftsman theming. So I appreciate that for his benefit. But I also love, like you said, the nostalgia of Disneyland Hotel. I feel there's class there too. Not that there's not class at Grand Californian, but it's just like a different, feels more like a high end.
It was nice. And I liked the pools were beautiful. I think we went there right after they'd redone made it into the monorail pool. I can't remember. And having Trader Sam's right there in the middle. I mean, that's you were really in a different world, isolated in there. All right. How about favorite on property in Florida?
So this personally for us so far, our favorite has been Animal Kingdom Lodge. Just because sitting out there and watching those animals. I know the hallways are horrendously long, and after a day at the parks, that's not awesome, but you just really can't. For us, you can't beat watching those animals. That's so amazing.
It's funny you mentioned that, and I hadn't thought about that. I have seen people talk about a long walk, but you start to think about how people Disney vacation, and then it's different than real life. And my friend that I was talking about with you guys before we started, she stayed at Yacht and Beach Club, which is one of my favorites. And yet she was like, could the hall be any longer? I mean, she's like, just to get to the lobby, I had to like, she's like, it was incredible, you know? And then you think further somewhere like Riverside, where my coffee was 15 minutes each way each morning. And then you think of some place like that, or these, you know, or Riverside, I guess, as well as Caribbean Beach, which have a bus that loops around just the hotel.
Like Old Key West,
which is where we're staying in June. So it's a very different way of vacationing because we loved. Well, I mean, kids are older now; it doesn't matter. But when they were younger in the Contemporary, we could let them go down and get their own drinks because we knew they were insulated, really inside of a hotel bubble, much less the Disney bubble. And then to think about that some Disney resorts, it's like staying at your friend's apartment. Yeah. So if you've got those resorts cups, you're really going to be driving back and forth a lot to get your $22 worth of soda. Although my biggest thing was coffee, and the Joffrey's, the in-room coffee in Joffrey's is pretty good. So I don't have a lot of complaints there. All right, Andrew, what's your favorite on-property hotel, Disney?
Mine is the Polynesian, but my family's is the Yacht and Beach Club because they like to go to Epcot a lot. And it's close to, you know, walk to Hollywood and you can walk to Epcot. But yeah, we stayed pretty much a couple of all-star resorts we haven't stayed at. Of course, Shades of Green. I don't know anybody military that would want to go to Disney World that could help me out with that. But that and the Contemporary we got to do. We'll have all of them done. But I just love. I've never been to Hawaii, but that to me going to Poly is the closest thing to it, and I just love the environment.
It's definitely, well, I don't know. I guess Animal Kingdom. I'll say it. I don't care. You can send the hate mail to me. I think that that it is the most well themed hotel, even with the new tower everyone hates. I went there. I think it's nice.
Now, if we hadn't stayed at Caribbean Beach, I would say Animal Kingdom because the first, at least 3 or 4 times we went, we stayed at Animal Kingdom. My youngest loves animals, and so having that view out of our room was a big deal. But as we've gotten older, you know, we just go over there and do that. But it's hard to beat a deluxe resort.
It is. They do such a nice job, and I wonder if it's some of it that we've just been trained to love a deluxe resort. Like, because we were at Riverside because they allow pets there, and I forget how much I love that resort and how beautifully landscaped it is and how great it is. That being said, there is something about walking just the portico and everything. It's pretty nice, and I think my favorite's the Polynesian as well. We kind of rotate between Beach Club, Polynesian, and Contemporary for our family trip, and it's really nice.
I'm trying my hardest. I was trying my hardest in January to get into that new Poly DVC tower, but no cigar, so I have to save that for another trip.
I know. I want to do it. All right. Favorite off-property Disneyland resort. This will be one just for you, Stacy. The floor is all yours.
That's a difficult one. There's a lot of good choices. But I say a lot about Hotel Lulu, which is actually a Best Western property. But it took over these 2 buildings on Harbor from I think it's Red Lion or something, but they rethemed it. They've got a nice little pool area, cute decor. I think that one's a good all-around choice. I've also really liked the Westin, and the main reason for that is actually they have this little like care package thing you can rent from the concierge desk, and it's got all the like Theragun vibrating like massager gun things that you can take back to your room. You can do that. That was just so it was like $5, I think, a day. It was way worth the money to
Oh, that is nice.
do
Because
that.
I have bad shoulders, so I travel with a little massage gun. And if I could leave that and not have to carry my backpack on the plane, I'd be really, really happy.
Yeah, the Westin there. It's got you covered.
All right. Well, Andrew and I can't participate in that one. All right. Have you stayed off property in Orlando, Stacy?
I have, but I think only once. I stayed in the Marriott Village just across the International Drive there.
Right.
Yeah, that's, I think, as far as I can remember, that's the only off property I've done at Disney World.
And how many times have you been to Disney World?
I want to say like 6 times
Oh, wow.
in my adult life.
You're adult, right. I have yet to have an adult life, so it's nice.
What's that?
Right, exactly. Otherwise, none of us would be sitting here on a Tuesday night at 7:30 talking into our computers about a magical kids park.
Yes.
On both coasts. What about you, Andrew? Have you stayed off property?
Yeah, we've stayed on Hotel Row a couple times. The Holiday Inn it's a I guess, did we call it a good neighbor? I can't remember what they call it. Is it a
Over by Disney Springs?
Yeah, I forget what they call it, but it's one of their approved resorts. And then staying at the Hilton, it's such an easy walk to the crossover to Disney Springs. Last couple times we've gone a day or two early and stayed there and enjoyed that. But the Holiday Inn wasn't bad. There was the B.
Oh yeah,
but it has changed. It's sold, but we didn't really care for that one. But the Hilton's been the best one so far.
And Kira, Stacy, who you remember is one of the loveliest people on the planet, is exactly right. The Poly Old Lobby. Look, I get it. We all go crazy when Disney changes things, but this is the one time they were wrong. They made a huge mistake getting rid of the waterfall where my kids learned to hula by. So I'm with Andrew. I think that Hilton off property at Disney World is my favorite, and we stayed there a bunch. I'd been staying next door at the Wyndham, so same walk, very convenient, and they have two older wings that are about $50 a night cheaper. And then they have a nice tower, which is still a little cheaper than the Hilton, but close, right? And yeah, Karen says it's Good Neighbor. That's what they call them. I could remember. I feel like they changed it at some point in time, but
thought they did too.
But I think Good Neighbor is correct. But lately, I will say this about both of them, and this is when you start to know you've been going too many times, is neither one has a very good hot tub. The Wyndham's works more frequently, but just kind of has air fluttering out. And the one at the Hilton, while it's almost shaped like a Mickey head, still it doesn't get very hot, and the bubbles are kind of weak.
That's disappointing, yeah.
We were planning to stay at the Drury, and I couldn't do it. We had to swim. We ended up going to. That's when we stayed at Old Key West. I just couldn't make myself stay off property.
Look at this guy bragging on us. I mean, just throwing it out there. Oh, I've never stayed off property. But Woolies. You guys, the Woolies, you guys, and Stacy, if you don't know Matthew, and what's his wife's name? I'm sorry. This is why Crystal. They are wonderful and have a great podcast, and they're building a really, really nice community. So their Facebook group is really, really fun. He's been asking a question a day, which is fun to force you to think about Disney a little bit. But I think they're almost done with all the hotels, aren't they? I feel like he just said something that they only had like 1 or 2 left to go.
I think I did ours. It was like 4, but I'm a creature of comfort, so I keep going back to the one.
Well, and so Jeremy Stein, who was with us at Momentum, Main Street Magic, he's been staying at a bunch of different hotels and kind of reviewing them, which is really cool. And so, but whatever it was he stayed at the time before, I was going to try to save some money and go to because I was driving down. So when I drive, I can stay wherever I want because I can get to and fro. But it was actually cheaper with my annual pass holder discount to stay at All Star. So I know, and I'm bummed. I'm staying at All Star Music in March, and I just missed like a really good deal on. I haven't stayed at Pop Century or Art of Animation. I haven't seen either one of those hotels really.
Those
Oh, see,
look really
there you go. So they need Riviera, Pop Century, Wilderness. I can't see because my camera, and movies. Yeah, so I'll finish out all my All Stars next month, which will be I can check that off. I'll be able to sleep again. I'll finally be able to rest. But there really is. I mean, it's a crazy amount of hotels. I mean, literally from camping to now the Four Seasons, which, you know, if you think regular Disney's expensive. Yeah, have you stayed there, Matthew? Have you stayed at the Four Seasons yet? Why don't you get a penthouse suite there? Because I looked at that. That's expensive. And by the way, if you, so I found one that was only $188 a night for a delivered RV, but they are no longer doing Disney deliveries. There's only 4, and they have some preferred providers. So Beecham's RV, if you do their biggest one, says sleeps up to 10 people, $255 a night. So you figure $255 and probably another 100 and something for the campsite with power. Call it that.
Compared to a moderate resort.
And these things are pretty. I mean, they have like granite countertops and LED lights and all kinds of stuff. So there you go. Now you got to do that.
I see back there Karen asked about the Grand Californian, the monorail. No, there's no monorail stop in the Grand Californian. You have to go outside to downtown Disney to catch the monorail. And it only goes into Disneyland Park into Tomorrowland. Only 2 stops on our monorail at California.
And that was a big mistake I made. So we didn't know that. And we had tickets one day for Magic Kingdom and the next day for Grand California. And so as we were coming back from Grand California, we're like, oh, let's just take a ride on the monorail, just a loop. And you got to have a park ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, the lady who told us that wasn't very magical. If I'm being honest, she wasn't. She didn't ruin the week or anything, but it wasn't, the way she told us was not very nice. But she probably hears it all day long of somebody telling her, oh, but my son's, you know, it's his last wish to ride the monorail, and this is our last day here. People probably hear that, but that's right. But the monorail did go to the Disneyland Hotel originally, right? Like, do you know? I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
If only there was some machine that would tell us all of these things.
The box.
It's funny. I my autocorrect when I write certain things now autocorrects to monorail. Like I wonder, like, does that tell you something about?
Subliminal message.
No, the original. Oh yeah, in 1961, the track was expanded to include the Disneyland Hotel. So the original trip was just a loop. And then the original hotel station was torn down in 1999. And a new station now called the Downtown Disney Station was built. So I guess the hotels have creeped a little bit over the years.
Mm-hmm.
But that was really nice too. Walking out of the Disneyland Hotel, walking under that hat, and then you're right there in downtown Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Which may ruin me because it's taken me a long time to say Disney Springs.
I still call it downtown Disney.
It's hard not to. All right, well, give us a couple, and then we won't take too much of your time, but a couple of your best hotel tricks and tips.
Okay, so first off, I think know your family, know what your needs are. Like if you're rope drop to park close, maybe you don't actually need free breakfast because you need to be lining up for rope drop at that time by the time they're starting their free breakfast. So maybe cross that off your list. But if you're not a rope drop person, maybe free breakfast would serve you well. So know your family. Also, uh, do your research as far as cost comparisons. I do not recommend people booking their hotels through the third party booking sites. Even though those places might show really good rates, they don't cover you at all in case of anything going wrong or changing or anything. But what you can do is find a good travel agent, and a lot of times they can price match those great rates you can see on those third party sites. So at least the travel agent that I'm partnered with, they can often do that. So
you can give them a plug if you want to.
my affiliate is with Getaway Today.
There you go. That's all right. I want everybody to make money and have fun. And I haven't really booked anything yet. I just started. I booked like 3 trips. So I'm just gingerly getting my feet wet and making sure that I'm doing it right. But at some point, I'm going to have to dive in. But you are so right about that. I hadn't even thought about it, but we got burned on that driving up from Key West. Oh, and Karen, that's right. And Karen now does travel too. We'll all do travel. And that way, nobody will ever do anyways. But I want to make sure we give her a plug because I love Karen and she loves us, takes good care of us here. But we got burned on that. You know, we were driving and we weren't sure how far we were going to go. So my wife booked on Expedia or somebody, and we got to a Ramada and they're like, yeah, we had to cancel you. And they didn't call us or tell us, but they were overbooked. And I mean, and there was literally a hotel next door. It wasn't a problem, but it really made me mad. And then I may have given that lady a little bit of a piece of my mind because I felt better. But yeah, if it had been our week stay, you know, and if it was a busy time where nothing else available, it could ruin your trip.
Yeah. And then there's literally nothing they can do, literally nothing. So yeah, it's better to be covered. So
I still do it. What's that?
My advice is yes, book with a reputable travel agent or book directly with a hotel, and then those 2 ways you're covered and you'll be taken care of.
And I do search around, like I'll check Priceline, and I feel like lately, Capital One, I have a credit card with them, and they've been giving me like some really incredible deals that have worked. Knock on wood. But every time as soon as I book it, then I call the hotel to make sure they have it. Because if it gets canceled, I'll figure it out. But usually, I feel like once it's on the hotel's books, they're not gonna.
Yeah, I agree with using a planner because I used to book all our stuff beforehand, and it was very stressful. Now I have a friend of mine who does it, and I call her or email her and give her the dates and the times, and she does everything. You staying off property, you staying on property, food, it don't matter. It just makes it so much easier to let somebody else handle it, and then you're covered if there's a problem.
Yeah. Well, and that's how, I mean, so we've gone 19 years in a row now, something like that. I think 19. And for the last 10, I've used a travel planner, and they have to have loved me because all I did was, exactly what's in my wallet. All I did was call and say, hey, I want these dates. I didn't even call, I'd email. And then they'd say, well, this is available. And I'd say, well, let's do this one, and then give them a credit card, and they were done. You know, because I wanted to book all my own meals. I wanted to book all my fast passes and do all the planning. However, it's changed. I mean, we had some training the other day, and this guy was showing us how you could record your screen with mouse clicks. And then when you click on something, it would circle. You know, it was a training aid for showing maybe onboarding somebody at a company or whatever you're doing, but it might come in really useful for trying to teach folks how to use FastPass now because it's so complicated. It's complicated to the point that I watched an hour and 20-minute video on it and still made mistakes.
Yeah, I think we all have done that.
And like Karen says, I think it's true. I think anybody, particularly if you're going into Disney stuff, it's because you love talking about Disney. And you cannot, Andrew will tell you the show goes on and on and on sometimes because we just get going. And, a lot of my friends in real life don't love Disney the way I do. I have to venture on the internet to find my people.
It works.
Well, Stacy, we won't take, you're so generous to talk to us and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Tell us where to find you, Stacy.
I have my website, DisneyHotelLady.com, and I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram primarily, but also Facebook and TikTok and Threads and all that. But all Disney Hotel Lady.
And her YouTube videos, and not just because I was in one. That's the only one I don't like. Because I remember Stacy. So when I met Stacy, and this is so true, she was talking about how she didn't like her voice, didn't like her face on camera, hate everything, and that's how I feel all the time. Like I never go back and watch these things. I never listen to them. If they're bad, they're just going to be bad. Someone will tell me, and I'll fix it later. Like I did have to go back last week, Andrew, because I was really loud, and I went by hand and brought my levels down. It was really tedious, and it still didn't come out great. This week, I think it'll sound a little better. But I don't like going back and watching my videos. I don't like doing any of it, but I do like making them, right? Like I enjoy this process. So it's a lot of fun. So Stacy found a place in my heart because I was like, I know exactly what you mean there. And she's another Momentum alumni. That's 2 weeks in a row. Andrew, how about you? You're getting ready to take off. What do you got going on?
I'm working on the first transportation video. I did each aspect of it, from the buses to the monorails to the boats, and I did each video for each one of those, and we'll start posting those this week, hopefully before we leave, and then I'll have a whole bunch of content when I get back. Room tour, wilderness, hopefully do a lobby tour. Our trip is probably the laid backest trip I've ever planned. We have no lightning lanes. We have some dinner reservations. We're just going to relax, walk around. If we catch a few attractions, we're going to do that. But we're just going to relax and enjoy the atmosphere. That's one great thing about having an annual pass. You go so much that if you don't do it this time, you can catch it the next time.
Yeah, get to slow down a little bit, which is nice. Which is really what I think. And I try not to ever, what would Walt think? But I do think he wanted us to look at these details. It wasn't just for our subconscious. So, And then, I'm easy to find. It's just, if you Google, but mostly Disney now, it's just me that comes up. So, and which was, again, that moniker I picked up while I was at Momentum. So you should all wouldn't be an episode if we didn't tell Lou how great he was. Oh, that's the wrong one, Karen. I liked when Karen said this one, that our people are right here. So, well, thanks for joining us. And I hope this one comes out great. I don't know who our guest is next week, so I can't advertise it. Stacy, you have the distinction of being the first and so far the only person we could advertise the week before, because that's as far. You are the most planned out episode we've had. Over 7 days. And thanks, Kira. Caleb, as always, a pleasure. I really appreciate it. Matthew, I appreciate thanks coming. And please check him out at Married to a Disney Addict. Their podcast is great. And we love them. We want everybody to be one big happy community. So thanks, guys. And see you next week.
Everybody. See
Bye.
ya.
Thank you.